there's a flag somewhere in my backyard. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thanks everybody. I guess the first item of business, as always, is the approval of the June meeting minutes. Hopefully everybody's had a chance to take a look at them. And at this point in time, I'll take a motion to approve them.
I move we approve the minutes.
And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we have now approved the minutes. And with that, Tammy, we'll cut right into the Parks and Rec report, if you would, please.
Sure. Well, we in June, we made quite an interesting transition away from a lot of the virtual programming back over into some of the in-person programming. As we talked about a little bit last month, I was speaking about the in-person Radnor Day Camp that was just about to get up and running. So after the virtual wind down, we sort of started the transition back into sort of a little bit more normalcy, which has been refreshing. And we really appreciate a lot of the support that we've gotten from everyone. And of course, the commissioners and the township manager, Bill White, in being able to continue and have some of the programs that we have that are going on this summer. Right now, the day camp is being offered and is running successfully over at Clemacrone Park and Warren Philippone Park. And we do have a virtual day camp that's going on as well, which is also very successful. And I've been really fortunate to have back a lot of our top staff members. So Kirby, who's running the virtual day camp, she's in her 16th year this year. Megan, who's over at Philippone, is in her 12th year this year. Brian, who's over at Macrone, is in his 10th year this year. So we have quite a lot of great leadership that have come back with us. And of course, the programs that are in person are being run with a strict regimen of health and safety operations. You know, we trained to that effect for one full day. We concentrated on a lot of the new policies and things that we put into place. The campers and the staff are wearing masks. They do take mask breaks from time to time because, as you can imagine, being outside in 90-degree heat, how can you ever imagine, you know, wearing masks that long? But the campers and the staff are doing an amazing job at it. We see them throughout the day as we make our stops. And of course, in the first week, last week, we spent a lot of time, Tracy and I, on site. And it's something that's really, you know, become pretty natural to everyone, amazingly. We have portable hand sanitizing units at both sites. Of course, we have the bathrooms. There are hand wash breaks that are implemented before and after every single activity. We spray painted dots in 3 different zones throughout the entire park at both park sites so that they could spread out. So each of the camper comes with their towel and their blanket and their bag so that they could sit down and social distance based on being within those locations. And now it's just kind of gotten natural to everyone within that mindset. So that's definitely helped a lot. We also have some pretty strict cleaning regimen that goes on. Public Works is attending to the bathroom facilities before every start of the camp day. Plus we also have our own, we actually are using paint sprayers to spray down all of the facilities. And when I say that, I mean, you know, everything from door handles to sink levers to equipment. So we've been really proud of what we've been able to do, and so far so good. We feel like everything has been pretty successful. We have a tent that was set up specifically for camp over at Philippone. So if you see a big party tent over at Philippone, that's why. Just a little bit of extra shade for the kids throughout the day, which has been really helpful. Obviously over at Macrone, they actually have a pavilion, so that works out well there. So we've been proud of the camp. It's up and running. You know, we, of course, when the governor had put forth the new guideline of the mask wearing in public and outdoor spaces, you know, if you cannot social distance, it's something where we took a step back with all the campers and all the staff, just to reiterate all the policies, all the guidelines. So we feel pretty confident on how things are going. When kids are sick, they stay home. When they're sick, their siblings stay home. Parents have been workable to that effect, no problems, no concerns. So hopefully things keep moving in that direction. I know, we keep our fingers crossed every day. We made it through our second week, already today, because we only operate Monday to Thursday. Our Fridays are being used for inclement weather. And then on the flip side, the virtual camp is going really well too. They're doing a whole lot of fun, creative activities. And a lot of the campers who are participating in the park-based camp, actually, which runs from 8:30 to 12:30, they can go home and still participate in virtual day camp because we're doing that from 1:30 to 3. So it works out, and we have a lot of folks that are doing that and doubling up. We also have some events that are going to be coming up starting next week. Next Wednesday, we have the concert that'll be at Clemmacrone. It will be a children's concert with Steve Pilara. I had sent the flyers out to you guys. If you weren't able to open the PDF because it was rather large, you can go to the event portion of our website under Parks and Recreation and read a little bit more about that. We are taking a pre-registration for the attendance. So all that does is just require folks to give us a call or an email ahead of time just to reserve their spot, because we do want to keep the attendance within the green phase guidelines, which right now is not to exceed 250. And similar to what we're doing at day camp with spraying out the chalk spotted dots throughout the park, we'll be doing the same thing for the concerts too, to keep folks spread out. And then we'll, take proactive attempts to, keep the bathrooms clean and all of that during the concert as well, should folks, be using those areas. And there won't be any other activities. There won't be bounce houses and table vendors and all that kind of stuff, food. It'll be a, come in with your own family, sit, hear the concert, have some fun, get some fresh air, and basically, leave and take your trash with you. So we hope that we hope it can still be a success. The following Wednesday, we're going to do the same thing at Beauconner Park, where we have a band called Melissa Martin and the Mighty Rhythm Kings. She was with us years ago and coming back. And then at the intermission, we're going to take a moment to have the ceremony to celebrate the park improvements that were made last year at the park. So take this as your formal invite for you all to attend. I know we'd love to have you there. We'll have a small ribbon cutting. I know several of the commissioners will be in attendance as well. And looking forward to just, celebrating the great improvements that happened at both of those parks. Then the following week, of course, is Night at the Ballpark over at Enke Park. Again, is going to be scaled back as well. No major activities to go along with it, like the speed pitch, machine, or the bounce houses or the fireworks. We cut those all out. We've also cut back the number of teams that would sign up for the wiffle ball portion of the event. So we, still want to have the games and have the fun of playing, but we're going to keep it scaled back, rather small, but so folks can still have an opportunity to get out and have some fun. So other than that, things have been going really well, and hopefully they continue on that path. I know every day we're, hearing and reading things in the news and trying to keep up with what's going on, and, hoping to make it through the end of the summer successfully.
Well, thanks, Tammy, for the
Fantastic.
update. It's great news. I was pleasantly surprised to see all of the events in the next few Wednesdays. I don't know that a month ago I thought that would have been possible. And certainly another tip of the hat to everybody, you and your staff. And I did cut through Macron one of the days last week and I was happy to see a pretty good crowd of kids there. And they were all wearing masks. It was early in the day and it looked like they're having a good time. It was good to see something resembling normalcy over there for a summer day. So thanks again for that. I guess we'll move on to our reports. Either Commissioner Enderle or Commissioner Farhi, anything from the BOC?
No, I don't have anything.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
All right, that was a quick one. School director Dunn, anything from the school board?
No, there is actually a July school board meeting for people who may be interested. The board will be hearing a proposal for how schools will be opening in the fall, depending on the phase we're in. And so people who are interested should tune in, I guess, on June 28th. July 28th. Sorry, I forget what month we're in. For that. I think there'll be a preview. There should be a preview the week before. I think we're going to have a curriculum committee meeting where they will give the initial plans. But there's a fairly large task force that was put together for that purpose that involves a number of parents from the community. And the school board is getting weekly updates, information sessions from the administration. So we're very busy paying attention to that. It should be good progress. I think the only other thing, and this one's probably more controversial, but that shouldn't keep us from mentioning it. I believe in early August, there was a notice that went out today from Superintendent Batchelor. There's going to be I think it's a town hall style meeting for people to weigh in. The school board has been getting a lot of email from members of the community about removing the Native American imagery related with the Raider name and potentially the Raider name as well. So I think we're going to, rather than just make a decision one way or the other, and I think, I know this was visited heavily in 2013, but there's enough community push for revisiting the issue that there will be another community meeting to discuss that in early August. And again, it'll be not a school board meeting per se, but a meeting for members of the community to speak directly to the school board. I think they're looking for a way that people actually can participate instead of just having to email, but we'll find that out soon.
Some people have signs on their lawns. I've seen those in
A
protest.
student group that has started a Facebook page called Radnor for Reform, and yes, they are very active.
Okay.
But they're not the only ones we've been hearing from.
Right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, as you mentioned, here we go again. That certainly a few years ago, it was a pretty hot topic as well. Any timetable, Sarah, on when a decision could be made on that, one way or the other? Or are we just
if there's a meeting in August, I suppose it could be on the August agenda for the full school board, but I don't know. I think, right now, what we've had a lot of different things people are asking us about. The other thing, we had a student group present to our facilities committee about aligning with the Township's Ready for 100 initiative, trying to getting the district to commit to moving to renewable energy, clean energy. So we have a lot of different people who want us to do a lot of different things, and I think it's not that we're not trying to do everything, but I think the primary focus has to be education in the fall. So it's not that things wouldn't be on the August agenda necessarily, but I don't set that agenda to promise what'll be on it or not. And I think it'll depend on kind of what else comes up before August.
Yes. And one other, I guess, comment or question. I did notice that there was some, from a recreation standpoint, some increased access allowed to school district facilities, tennis courts and things like that. Did I read that correctly, or am I making that up in my head?
I think I've seen that, but I haven't seen something specific that allows. I do think that they have opened facilities for socially distanced, responsible green phase use. So, like with the township parks, anybody who's using those facilities should still be wearing a mask per the governor's order that you do that when you're out, even when you're outside. So yeah, I think there has been some limited, specifically the tennis courts. I think basketball courts as well outside maybe in use.
Yeah, I think there might be some indoor usage coming up next week as well, from what I understand. Anything else from the school district?
No, that's plenty.
you folks have a lot on your plate to be certain. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Claire, anything from Shade Tree?
Actually, I do have something to report from Shade Tree. We are continuing our meetings just like everybody. There's something, trees don't get COVID, which is a great thing. We connected, we are going forward with our fall planning, which is when the township donates 60 to 140 trees to residents, and we have hooked up Shade Tree Committee with our WBA board, which is the Wayne Business Association board, to identify good places that we can, earmark some of those trees for the overlay. Garrett Hill as well, Sean. So, wherever we're looking for places in the township to get our canopy back, as we've lost a lot and continue to lose a lot with weather and ash borer and et cetera. So it's a great committee, and it's nice to actually be moving forward to, like Tammy, I appreciate all the stuff that's going on for camps and kids, and Sarah, school board. Wow. I think we're seeing it in my business that people want to make decisions for life. So it's a good thing.
Claire, is there any talk about the chronic spotted lantern butterfly? I know in our neighborhood it's everywhere.
Constant, Bill. Yes, there's always talk, and there's all kinds of things. If you go, there is a website, a conservancy, Radnor Conservancy is a really good resource for that, on ways to deal with it if you're interested, but it is a problem, but they're working on it.
Okay.
And I know in our parks as well.
Oh, I was just going to say, I reported some along the train tracks near my home, and am now on an email list from the Penn State Extension Service, and they send me regular updates about seminars you can attend. Registration is for free, and they'll talk to you about, they have various topics about, which type of, you may want to leave the Allianthus because it's a, something they'll attack instead of other things, those kinds of things. So if you look on the Penn State Extension Service website, there's good resources there as well.
Thank you.
And our arborist, John Hasback, is very, active and well aware, and works closely with Tammy and the township to identify places where we have to watch and not plant trees that are going to attract them.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Did I miss any other committee reports? I don't think I did. Okay. Tammy, park project updates?
Sure. Emlyn Tennell Park is completed, with the exception of, I think we talked about this a little bit in June. We still have a plan to install 7 bollards out in front of the building. Right now, the building is quite exposed from the parking lot. So the bollards will be installed as a means to guard the building, if you will, from any deviant drivers that might, drift astray in and around that area.
Drivers.
Bad drivers. So they've been ordered, and they're nice bollards. They're actually fitting with the aesthetic of the building and the blockwork of the building. They're like a cast concrete with a nice 3-ring design on them. So it'll be something that'll look really nice in front of the building. So we had met out there to mark the distancing. So if you've been on site, you might have seen the spray paint there. You did see that along that sort of line there from the parking lot leading into the park. You would see those there. So they're going to be installed as soon as they arrive. I know it's a project Public Works is going to do, and something that we want to complete, before, I guess, finally completing the entire project. I know Little League has moved in and, started to set up shop, which is great. We have a couple picnic tables that are going to be coming, and I think Public Works was working on a couple trash cans in and around the area just to sort of, finish the job, so to speak. The grand opening, we want to have that sometime in August or September to tie in with Little League in the girls softball that's played there, so that their teams could join. So I know I've been in touch with Tom McWilliams, the president of Radnor Wayne Little League, to discuss that, and we're going to come up with a date. So as soon as we have that, we'll make sure we send that out to all of you, especially since we don't meet in August. So we'll make sure that there's ongoing communication so everybody has an opportunity, provided that that's something that can happen in August. So stay tuned for that. We're working on relocating the mulch. Right now, the mulch, and we talked about this a little bit in June too, is still in the parking lot. It's going to be relocated from the area in the parking lot on the right when you first drive in right now to the left-hand side. I've been working with our project manager, Dennis Capella, to put together a plan for like an E.P. Henry block type sort of area in between the 2 landscape beds that are there off to your left. So I think the size of it's be about 16 feet wide by 8 feet deep by, I think, 3 feet high. If it's something that'll fit nicely in there, then we'll give an opportunity to sort of, create a more organized space, for the mulch, but something that's not quite what's over at Warren Philippon. So something a little bit more aesthetically pleasing at the park. So I know Philippone is one we are also taking a look at too, just as a side note, to maybe make some changes to in the future, but we kind of want to see how this project goes first. Because the mulch is a wonderful thing. I mean, every time I'm in the parks, I see people grabbing it and taking it. I mean, I see it one day and the next day it's all gone. So it's definitely being utilized. As of course, I'm sure people are doing more home projects and things if they have more time or had more time over the last few months. So that's something with regards to that park, is going to occur within the next couple months. Yes, Chris?
Is the cameras set up on the building there for security purposes?
Our building and IT manager actually just today installed them. However, I'm not aware if he has them up and running yet. I know I ran into him this morning and he was headed over as I was coming in. And he was heading over to the building to work on some of the installation, but I don't know that it's completed yet.
Okay, thank you.
The Septa Bridge area in the back, Septa had intent of removing those structures at one point in time. My understanding is now that they're reevaluating that, so that may not actually end up occurring. At this point, it may occur, but it might not be until next year. I heard it was, it was budgetary or it was manpower or something in that regard. So the tree had been removed. Obviously, the tree was the large, I think oak, some type of a large oak tree was removed so that they could then remove the bridge abutments, and the tree's gone, and now the bridge structures are still there. So we're waiting, I guess, at this point to get more word from Septa, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be anytime soon. And the fencing that they had installed along the back, which is a galvanized run of fencing, which is there, which I feel blocks the area quite well from the safety hazard that was created. However, I understand they are going to replace that fencing with something more permanent. We did ask them for a black vinyl coated fencing to be replaced, as a matter of fact, the whole way along there. We're not sure that they're going to replace all of the fencing, but we've asked them to. So we're kind of waiting on word back on what their next step is going to be with regards to the fence line there. Ideally, I'd like to see it all replaced. It's in bad shape.
It has been for years. I was happy to see, just to let the rest of the group in on it. I think we spoke about that fencing at the last meeting, and literally by the close of business the next day, that fence was up. So I was happy to see however that happened. It was a good thing. It was not a safe condition the way it was in, especially inviting the kids and whatnot back into the park.
Yeah. So, sure, go ahead.
No, nope.
I was gonna just talk about Fenimore Woods.
That's where I was gonna nudge you to go. Yep.
Fenimore Woods that will be a great project sitting on the horizon. We're still working through. I understand the state agencies have opened back up, so our consultants are finalizing the plan that's going to them, and working to get that in front of them so that we can get our bid finally complete and get it out, which I think is good timing. At the height of, before we went through the closure with COVID-19 in March, I think construction was at an all-time high, at least for a long time, from what I've seen. So I think we might have a good chance here in the fall to get some really good numbers and a really good bid back, and get this project done. So I know the tree removal and replacement plan is slated to be on the agenda for the Shade Tree Committee next week. I believe they meet on Wednesday. I know that the agenda has been carrying over from month to month, so I don't know where it sits on the list in terms of the agenda, but I certainly hope it's an item that they get to, because if they don't, then I think it's something that gets deferred until to August. I think the August meeting happens. I don't think they go on hiatus in August.
Can I jump in there a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead, because I wasn't sure if they still meet in August. I think they do.
We do. We have historically, I think, but what takes up the time in the meetings is applications from residents for dirt removal, tree removal, so engineering things. So sometimes that really does take precedence to projects. So what I will nudge Eileen to, it's good to, let's get this park on the in the high priority.
Yeah, because I think, once we have that piece behind us, we're full speed ahead with the state agencies, and then we can start to get the bid finalized and get the bid out as soon as possible. And that'll be a very big project to get done. And the last of the big projects as part of that 2016 bond. So that's really exciting. I know I walked through Fenimore Woods just yesterday. I walked around the pond area just to kind of eyeball a few things there to make sure they make their way into the bid. And the park needs a lot of work. It really does. So it'll be very exciting to see that one get done. So we're looking forward to that, continuing to move. Just to transition over to the Willows, the bridge along Darby Paley Road, just outside the entrance to the Willows, is going to be replaced. I understand the tentative start date for that is on Monday, August 3rd. And so once that project gets up and running, the entrance to the Willows is actually not going to be available. So there's a plan I had been working on with Steve Norsini and our staff traffic sergeant to put some signage in the area. Obviously there'll be detours and everything in and around there, but for the ingress and egress to the Willows, it's all going to have to go through the exit, which right now is a lot of activity going on in the Willows, just with regards to construction at the mansion, which, is really making a lot of headway. There's a lot more events that are happening at the mansion. We have a camp that runs until mid-August at the site. The gardeners are in and out on a daily basis. The dog walkers are in and out. So.
And that bridge project could take 6 to 8 months, is my
Oh,
understanding.
that's what I was going to ask. 6 to 8 months, really?
Yeah.
I believe that's what I heard.
Through the end of the year.
Yeah.
Is kind of what we're anticipating. And unfortunately, we've never had projects finish early, at least that I can remember. So.
Thank you, Murphy. Okay.
Well, maybe now that I've called it out, it'll happen sooner. Finish early. So, we're going to have some growing pains, obviously, in and around that area. We are going to reinforce the undercut areas of the driveway and build up with stone, sort of like a shoulder on many of the sides where if you drive through now, you see they're deteriorating, so that people will be able to pull over and yield to each other, and hopefully slow down too, because I know spending a lot of time over there, because we have Survivor Nature Camp going on too at the Willows. People fly through there, and we'll hopefully slow some of the traffic down, but it's going to be an inconvenience for a little while. So any questions on that? So just to switch gears a little bit on over at Odoricio, there's the batting cages that were presented to us by Tom McWilliams several months ago. That batting cage right now is located, it's real far out in distant left field, I guess. It's not staying there. So for anybody who's been over at the park and they look out into left field and see, wow, there's a batting cage out there that doesn't look like it belongs there, it's because it doesn't. It's going to move. We had a location down below in the flat area at the bottom of the hill, but we had a resident that was not happy with that location, and then some Little League representatives had moved it up the hillside just temporarily. And the good news is now we do have a new location, which is deep in right field, right beyond the little bullpen, right in front of Jane Golis's house. Actually, we met with her this morning, Tom McWilliams and I, and there's an area right outside of kind of like where her house is, but doesn't block her view, of course, to the park, because she was very concerned about being able to still watch the games, because they do. It'll be down there in that flat space in between a few of the trees. So if it's not moved already, because I know Tom was looking to maybe do it tonight or tomorrow. It'll be moved soon, just in case anybody has questions, because it looks somewhat awkward where it is.
Because one of the residents did ask me about it. They said it just seemed out of place. But even in looking at it, I was wondering how they got their footing to do the practicing, because you're on a slope there and there's just no way you can get a good grip.
Not easily.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
It's about a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the kids will be happy to hear about that. I'm sure they were moaning a bit last couple of nights about it.
And I understand that side is the home side. So the
Yes.
bullpen's there, the cage will be there. It all works out for the best. And then in the meantime, the North Wayne Park cage proposal that we had heard, I know they're going to be working on those as well. But I should say that one, because I think it's only going to be one in the coming weeks, will potentially appear over there too. So other than that, I know a couple of months ago I had mentioned about some like trail updates and having Steve Norsini come and talk a little bit about those. I think we're going to defer that to September, which I think will be good for us to talk more about that and kind of take a step back and go through all the trail projects and where they currently are. And especially since Steve works on point with those, being the township engineer, he'll be able to provide all of the updates with regards to each of those projects and where they are at that point. And we'll start to talk about those a little bit more. And then one of the other things I just wanted to just remind everybody of is just capital planning. Of course, we'll be turning the corner in September as we'll talk about the budget, just to keep thinking about, capital projects within the parks. I know we have a very detailed, long outline of capital projects that sit out there, but just start to think about those and things that, we want to see happen in the future. I know, just as an example, a park like Odoriccio has a lot of work that needs to be done over there. And Cowan Park, is another one. There's a lot of work there that does need to be done on the horizon. And lots of other projects, walking paths, parking lots, things like that, just to, continue to think about, I guess, as we head into the fall.
I'm glad you brought that up, Tammy. It's one of the things I was going to suggest as we wrap up was for everyone to take a look at their parks, as we all try to do from time to time, and see if there's anything in that short-term need, and certainly in the midterm and long-term needs. And perhaps as we head back into the fall, hopefully there'll be something closer to normalcy, and we'll actually be together in the same room. Perhaps look towards some of those priorities that we might place, since we're running through the large projects and that era is coming to an end. I think we need to consider what we want to do, and whether we want to have a more proactive role in suggesting and guiding BOC and providing a forum for dialogue on what the residents would like to see, since there have been a number of huge projects that have been undertaken and been very successful. Perhaps some element of that can continue as we move forward. And also, just in general, if there's any agenda items for the parks that folks want to put on the table. I know we've all been treading water at some level in our personal lives, just trying to stay afloat here, and all of us have had lots of unusual demands on our times. But as we head towards the fall, if there are things that you want to talk about, feel free to share them with Mary or me or Tammy, and we'll put them on the agenda and we kick them around, whether it be a policy matter or an improvement matter, whatever the case may be. We can use this time to bring those things to the front if that's what's desired by folks. I don't know if we don't have any formal new business. I know that we've penciled in a few items now with the trails and some updates for September, as well as Commissioner Farhi's suggestions on the swap, as well as potential naming issues for some of the parks. But if anybody wants to bring something up tonight or kick something around, report from the field, etc., I'll open the floor at this time to let folks do that.
Well, can I just ask a quick question back to your point about looking at local parks and seeing if there are things we need? If there are members of the community who see something they think should be done, is there an easy way for them to reach out to the committee? Do they email Tammy or something? Because sometimes, even though we're all in the local park, somebody who lives right near one or uses one regularly may see a need that we don't necessarily recognize.
Well, I know that a lot of those folks find Tammy one way or the other,
Okay.
but I don't recall if our emails are on there. I'm certainly willing to have my email put on the site if folks want to use that as a clearinghouse rather than have Tammy burdened with items numbers 6,028 and 29. But that's fine with me, Tammy. I don't mind being a clearinghouse if that's helpful to you or not. And then we can share that perhaps with the community as well, that there's a portal or two for them to share those things if they can't make these meetings, and actually in the current format they really can't make them. So that's a good point, Sarah.
Sarah, they typically find me no problem.
Okay, they find their
problem.
commissioners. I don't have to worry about it.
No, they find us.
We covered this.
Thing that I want to touch on, and Tammy, I apologize. I'm terrible with these Zoom links, and I never seem to get to the meeting on time. Did you just talk about the concert at the Willows on July 12th?
I did not talk about it specifically. I talked about the concert at Clemacrone
Okay.
and Beau Connor.
Okay. So just so everyone knows, I am not going to be able to make it, but a nice concert on July 12th, and hopefully that can kind of showcase some more of the Willows.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up actually, being on the Willows Park
Yeah.
Reserve Board, but July 12th, it's sold out actually. But we
Okay.
are going to have another one in August. So folks can keep their eye on that. Should be nice. It's going to be a scorcher of an evening on Sunday, but doesn't look like there's any rain. So
What kind of music?
Hopefully this moves ahead with without a glitch.
What kind of music, Mary, may I ask?
And nothing that I mean, sort of soft rock, not soft rock, kind of rock, but not not heavy
So
metal.
the former commissioner of Ward 7, John Fisher, now has entered into the entertainment business, and he reps certain singers. So I think he's going to have, I think he's going to showcase a couple of the people that he represents. So
Yeah.
I don't know the specifics. I've heard some of them. They sound great.
Yeah. And family oriented. It'll, the idea is picnic blankets laid out on socially distant squares and, early in the evening. So, just should be nice as long as the weather isn't too oppressive. And then another one again in August. I forget the date.
I did have an
Good stuff
issue
going on at the Willows.
that, forgive me if we covered this before, but there was concern by the citizen about the fencing in Hartford Park for the dogs. How did that end up resolving itself? I believe Commissioner Booker was handling that himself. Is there any feedback for us at all?
I've had no follow-up on it from either the resident or the commissioner.
Okay.
I would say reach out to Rich and see if he can give you some insight.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Anybody else have any
I
items to
just
kick
want to
around?
applaud Tammy. I've heard great things, Tammy, about the camps, both virtual and the ones that are ongoing from residents in the 3rd Ward. I was up in Wayne on Saturday night, socially distanced with my wife for a little bit, and had somebody come up to me and, really wanted to give feedback on that. So I applaud you, your team, all of the staff, and all of the folks that you have running those. So congratulations on that. That is a huge win, I think, across this township, given what's going on. And I know how difficult, from all of the litany of precautions that you laid out on this call, how incredibly difficult that must be to manage. And not only that, but the concern for the parents, which in this township, they are not shy about getting all over you about it. So I applaud you for that. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that. On behalf of all of us, the whole staff.
Well said. A huge tip of the
Tough work and tough times.
Yeah.
Yes, we're having almost a normal run of our summer events coming up the next few Wednesdays, which is incredible. Anyone else have anything else they want to add before we wrap up? Okay. Thanks everybody for making the time and being on board the last few meetings. I know it's been difficult through this format and with everything that's going on in everyone's lives. Thanks for making the time to be here for these meetings and contribute. I know I appreciate it. And I'm sure the residents appreciate it, even if they can't see us or coming in, say things to us in the meetings. But thanks so much. So with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a second, we got one.
Second.
All right,
Second.
all are in favor, so we are going to adjourn. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the rest of the summer,
Thank you, Bill.
and
Yes.
don't be strangers.
Thank you, everybody.
See you in
Everybody.
September.
Care.